He's like, so I won't speak to you. And you as a professional are like, fine, I'm not going to speak to you either. I had some troubles. What are you doing? Why are you typing? Again, my therapist would lose her mind if she was reading this book. I just don't understand who let him out of the prison. Why did you let him out of the prison? Because if this is your opinion of somebody who should be free, God help us all. I need to come. I wouldn't need to hurt myself to get off if I could just fuck her right now. She's a bitter little vessel for me to dump my load inside. And I'd only need her mouth or her cunt. What woman likes reading that? Coming out of a man's mouth? Maybe I'm too gay for this. Maybe that's the problem. I don't think so, but let me know if it is. You're a psychologist! What is this nonsense? Why are you... I'm speechless. I'm going to pretend that this is her sweetness on my tongue. Yes, I do agree that this ruins the cantaloupe. I don't know if anybody likes it. I definitely don't. I do that to her? Yes, you did. Remember yesterday? Boots, mask, fingers? What do you mean did I do this to her? Yes, you did. No, she woke up sad this day. It was not your fault. Yes, you did. Why are you asking me that question? Go to hell. Exit this room. I hate you. Okay, shut up. You know what you did, and so does she, and even if you did not know that, that's so rude to tell someone that. And do not call her baby. Shut up. Shut up. It's not in my mind. I do not know. Do not talk to me. Don't address me, don't ask me questions. I don't know, I don't care. Get out of my head. Hi. As you probably realized from the title of this video, today we're going to have a rant review. And it's going to be a very hot one because I'm mad. Very, very mad, okay? We're going to talk about the book Unethical by Lauren Biel. Let's just start by saying that unethical does not begin to describe everything that is wrong in this book. Okay, if everything was just unethical, it would have been fine. But let's just say that it is not. Okay? Disclaimer, if you don't want to be spoiled, maybe skip this video because I'm going to skip every plot line of this book. We're going to talk about everything that happens in it, and I'm going to give you some comments about my thoughts because I have a lot of them. And if you're a fan of this book, and you cannot hear bad and negative things about it, maybe this video is also not for you. Because I did not like it, and I do not think that this is a good book, objectively. Okay? That's it. And if you're Lauren Biel, I don't think you are. I have a very small channel, so you probably are not here. If you are, hi, bye, thank you very much. Okay, let's add some trigger warnings. So at the beginning of the book, we have the disclaimer of, okay, if you need trigger warnings, go to the author's website. I have some thoughts on that, but I'm going to keep them to myself because I know that a lot of authors do this. So that's fine. The trigger warnings say, stalking, obsession, forbidden, therapist ex-patient, some no, dobcon, non-con, primal, complaint, ruining the food. Thankfully, I did not like the food to begin with, so yeah, if you like that food, it's going to be ruined for you. How is that a trigger warning? Ruining the food? History of childhood abuse and neglect. History of murders. Okay. No. This is a very incomplete trigger warning list. If that was me writing it, first of all, rape. Let's just call it what it is. It was not just DOPCON or even non-con. It was rape. Okay? We have rape. We have sexual assault. They were not even in the trigger warnings. And we had both of them. Then we get to the lighter things like I don't know, stalking obsession. So you put ruining your food, which is crazy, in the trigger warnings, but not essay. What was the logic behind that? Anyways, I just gave you the trigger warning. So if they're triggering for you, maybe click off. I'm going to try so hard to not be vivid about those part of it and keep them vague. But if you don't want to hear about them at all, I understand. Thank you for being here. Right to you. And if you're here, let's get to the book that I hated. This is going to be the worst book I read in 2025. The summary says, okay, this is a summary in the website of the author. It's only unethical if we get caught. No, it is not. It is unethical no matter what. Maxime. I see her jotting down notes in her little notebook. Psychopath. Deranged. No empathy to be found. She doesn't yet understand just how right she is. But she will. I'm obsessed with her. Of course you are. She consumes my every waking thought. The problem is she's my therapist. No. The problem is that this is not healthy. Not just that she's your therapist. Okay, I'm going to just read. Can she break through me or will I end up breaking her? Great summary, by the way. Okay. I just saw the comment that she put underneath it. Unethical is a medium gray dark romance novella. He raped her. How is that medium gray? He legit raped her. That's medium gray? What is dark then? What is dark black? What is pitch black? I don't want to know. Please don't answer that. I do not want to know. It was just a weird question. Okay. Let's get into the book. As you probably realized from that perfect summary that we just experienced, his name is Maxim and her name, the therapist's name is Sarah. I have a lot of notes. Let's start with the chapter 1. We start with Maxim. At the beginning of the book, in the first chapter, Maxim gets out of jail. And what he has to do for parole is that he needs to visit a therapist, mandated therapist, once a week. And what he does is immediately goes home, searches, I don't know, home or wherever he is, I don't know, and goes online, searches her name, sees her face. Immediately he's obsessed and wants to boink her. Why? I don't know. It's just a professional photo, which is very scary because unfortunately, one of the worst parts of this book is that you have dual POV, so you get to hear Maxim's thoughts about her. Never have I ever read worst internal thoughts. Okay, and I started reading dark romance from Haunting Adeline. Hated that book, but I don't remember Zaid's inner thoughts being as bad as Maxim's are. As I told you, he looks through the internet and finds her picture. His inner thoughts are, I've spent the last 4 years in prison, so I can only hope she's a gray-haired bat with a sharp nose. I'm not sure how well I can hold myself back if she's hot. Who let you out of prison? And why? Self-control isn't a strength of mine. Dangle a hot piece of ass in front of me and I might fuck the judgment out of her. First chapter and I already hate being here. Okay, I get that this is dark romance. And I get that he's morally black. He's morally black. Raven color. What is this? And how is he going to become hot in my brain when this is how he speaks? In the first chapter. Okay, let's not get too angry. Then he actually sees her picture. And what does he say? She is hot, and I have to sit in front of her and pretend I'm not rabid for pussy at this point. More specifically, her pussy. Calm down, we have a lot to go through. We get that perfect POV from Maxim, and then we switch to Sarah. So at this point, I was hoping that I'm going to like Sarah, or at least like her enough to just be mad at Maxime, or at least find her hot enough to kind of get the point of this book. But as we go along, I'm going to talk about it more. Sarah is more insufferable than he is. She is not as morally black as he is, but she's insufferable. And I hate her. So Sarah is sitting in her office, and she is realizing that she's going to have a new patient, Maxine. And she's telling us that she hates it when her patients are there as a mandatory status because they don't want to be helped. And since it is forced, she usually can't get through to them. You just get to know that, okay, she's an expert, whatever. Then unfortunately, we get back to Maxime. This is his first session with Sarah. And while being on his way, again, unfortunately, we're hearing his thoughts. And I think that Lauren Biel tried so hard to make him dark, mysterious, and edgy, and I don't really feel that his internal dialogue is that edgy, okay? Therapy has never really been my thing. When I first started acting out when I was extremely young, English is not my first language, so I'm not really that fluent in it. But even I know that you shouldn't repeat yourself 2 times in one sentence. When I first started acting out, when I was extremely young, great. When I first started acting out when I was extremely young, the courts tried to intervene and force me into counseling. I didn't need a therapist to tell me that getting bounced around from one shitty foster home to another had done a number on my psyche. I was damaged before the foster parents even gave up on me, though. Something has been wrong with me since the day I drew breath. Something not wired quite right. Okay, first of all, dark, edgy, got it. You're not like everybody else. You're damaged beyond repair, whatever. Later on, when we get closer to the ending, he starts telling us about his past and whatever happened to him, and he keeps bringing up that the system failed him. And they never intervened, never cared. So why are you saying that the courts were trying to help you by counseling? So they cared. You didn't. Or maybe he's just saying that it was too late. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand him. And frankly, I don't even want to. He gets to her office late, might I add, late 10 minutes or something. And the receptionist, like, okay, you're 10 minutes late. I'm going to go check if the doctor is still available. In my therapy office, the therapy office that I go to, not mine, if you're 15 minutes late, that session is considered cancelled, even if you have paid for it, okay? So you're 10 minutes late. It is so bold of you to assume that you can just go inside. And he gets mad and is like, so did the doctor just vanish after 10 minutes was passed? No, the doctor is still there. But she might not want to see you because you are late 10 minutes. How long is a session? 1 hour? In, again, the therapy office that I go to, it's 45 minutes. So if you're 10 minutes late, you have only 35 minutes to go. So yeah, maybe the therapist thinks that she should cancel that. Whatever. He's rude. The girl goes in and is like, okay, fine, the doctor will see you now. He goes in. We already know that he's obsessed. Sarah makes a comment of, you're 10 minutes late. He doesn't care. So she says that, I'm Dr. Sarah Reeves. I've been a therapist for 10 years. Tell me about yourself. Okay, I don't want to be a nitpicky person, but I don't know. I've been in therapy for a very long time. I've had different therapists since I was 12 or 13, somewhere around that. And never have I had a therapist who just sat in front of me and I was like, I've been a therapist for X amount of years. Tell me about yourself. What do you mean? Ask him his name. What are you doing? How can I help you? How's your life going? What do you mean, tell me about yourself? I feel like, okay, this is going to be a little bit rude, but I feel like Lauren Biel has never been in therapy. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying this as an offensive thing. I'm just saying that my experience has been very, very different. She tries asking him questions. He tries avoiding them. And she's like, okay, have you ever been in therapy? And he answers, my parents tried to put me in therapy after the loss of my twin. So again, you later on realize that his parents were shitty people, abusive, beat their children, put them in a basement. How did parents that were so abusive that they didn't care if you lived or died try to put you in therapy after your brother died? That screams great parenting to me. Where is the consistency of this story? Whatever. So after he says that, she says, how old were you when you lost your brother? How did you know that the twin was a brother? You either went through the news and found him and realized that, oh my god, his twin died, or went through his file, the prison file, and realized that he had a twin who died. So you know the answer to this question. And even if you do, you should ask it in a way that he doesn't know that you already know a lot of things about him, because you have biases then. And as a therapist, you should be totally unbiased. So what is this question? Again, very minor detail, but I feel like an author should think about these things. That she should not say, how old were you when your brother died? How does she know that the twin was a brother? And why the hell did he not just say, when my brother died? You know? I know, again, I hate this book, so I'm being nitpicky, but I wished that an editor had gone through this and been like, change this in a way. She asks what happened to him, the twin brother, and he answers that he fell down a well on their property. He follows up the question with, okay, how did your parents deal with that? And he answers, I don't fucking know, and then they died too, so it doesn't matter. Fine. The air shifts. She no longer looks so sure of herself. Her confidence has drained from her eyes, replaced by a glint of fear. This soon? You are telling me that this professional psychologist who has been working with criminals long enough that she knows that they're not willing to cooperate because it is forced on them to be there, here's the sentence, then they died so it doesn't matter anymore, and there's a glint of fear in her eyes? Even if I was meeting somebody and they said that, I wouldn't be scared. I would be like, okay, they're traumatized and don't want to talk about this thing. And your confidence was drained? Okay, so you should not be a therapist if you can't even handle that small of a comment. That's my opinion. She tries pushing on the family angle of these things, and he gets so angry, he stands up and wants to leave the room. And she says, if you leave this room, I'm going to have to call your patrol officer and be like, you didn't commit to the therapy clause of your release. Oh great, we're building the relationship with threats. Great therapist work. And whatever, he just sits down and is like, okay, fine, I will sit here, but I won't speak. She says fine, because of course she does. She has no competence in her work. I can be a better therapist than her, okay? I've been in therapy enough that even I know that she's such a bad therapist. So while he's sitting there looking at her, she starts typing on her laptop. Unprofessional as hell. Okay, when a client is in the therapist's office, that office and that time belongs to them.
even if they don't want to talk to you at all, as a therapist, you have to sit there and look at them. That silence is also something that belongs to them. So you can't just sit behind your desk and start typing. What are you doing? You're a therapist. You should be a professional. This is not the way to do this. So he's being a child, and he's like, so I won't speak to you. And you as a professional are like, fine, I'm not going to speak to you either. I think Lauren Biel needed to do more research on therapists and the rules that are in that. I need to drink water. I'm getting mad. And nothing has happened yet. Drink up, hydrate yourself. Okay. It's fine. It's just a book. The time comes to an end and he says, see you next session, Doc. Next chapter, we have Sarah. It's the next week already, because of course it is. It's a novella, we need to move faster. It's the next week, they're going to have another session with each other. He gets there late, again. And she says to us, Maxim is either psychopath or sociopath. But I haven't figured out which one because I've only spent 2 very guarded hours with him so far. Okay, 2 questions. First of all, you said since last week, so this is your second time seeing him. It's going to be your second time seeing him. So that's 1 guarded hour, not 2. And he was 10 minutes late, so 50 minutes. But whatever, who am I to correct you on that? And second of all, I did not ask for his diagnoses. And couldn't you really come up with more original ones? So you put the 2 most common diagnoses of dark romance book. So he's either a sociopath or psychopath. Gotcha. Maxim gets there, he's very late. While Maxim is being late, she keeps talking to us. I wish that she didn't. And she says, when I'm looking at him, I see nerves firing in his mind that are best left dormant. I can almost feel the hum of devil coming to life when he enters a room. His presence demands my attention, but he doesn't look especially menacing until he speaks. Very professional. That's exactly how a therapist talks about their patient. Great, I have a lot of confidence in you being able to help him. Maxim arrives and while she is trying to be like, you're late, he just says, yeah, I don't want to give you an excuse, I'm just bad at time management. Managing what exactly? So you're out of prison, I don't know where you live, I don't know what you do. What time are you managing? I don't know. And she describes him as, he brushes back dark hair that's faded on the sides, and his chilling green eyes assess me as much as I assess him. His strong arms stretch the sleeve of his shirts, of course they do, as he flexes and tugs a pillow from behind him. He's a piece of fucking art to look at, but his pretty painting is also cursed. Again, professional. Great way to look at your patient. Great, just great. Internal monologue of Sarah keeps going on, and she keeps judging him more and more and more, and she keeps telling us about the articles that she has read, and how she has decided that he is traumatized, and what kind of a person will do that and that. And I'm like, you're his doctor. You need to be unbiased, objective, and trusting towards him. He needs to be able to trust you. And how is that supposed to happen when you keep reading articles behind his back and judging him to the worst degree? How's that going to work? My therapist would have a panic attack reading these pages. She keeps asking him questions about his childhood, brother, mother. He tries to avoid them. And there's a part in this that while he's speaking, she starts typing in her computer. And I was so shocked. Because again, from what I know from therapy, first of all, you don't sit behind your desk while your client is sitting in front of you. You go sit on the couch in front of them to make them feel more comfortable and less judged than you being behind the desk. Second of all, you don't start typing. Okay, even while writing notes on a notepad, my therapist never does that because she's like, that makes you think about what I'm writing more than telling me the truth. So I won't do that. But even while therapists are writing, they write short things like keynotes and keywords to remember. Not just, isn't that bizarre for therapists that just sit in front and like, okay, what was your childhood like? And you're like, yeah, I had some troubles. What are you doing? Why are you typing? Again, my therapist would lose her mind if she was reading this book. She asks some more questions, he answers some, and not some other questions. After answering some of her questions, he suddenly shuts down, and she's like, oh, we're back to this again. We have a chapter change. Why do we have a chapter change in the middle of a scene? I do not know. We just do. We just jump to Maxim's POV. Oh my god, is that not a bliss to hear Maxim's internal monologue of how much he is obsessed with her. So let's hear some of it. When I walked in, I saw her twisting her pencil around her long fingers. Dreading our appointment as much as I anticipated it, I managed to tuck my dick down before she noticed. But the surprised dread on her face almost made me heart all over again. Isn't he just a lovely human being? Shouldn't we all be in love with Maxim? Then, unfortunately, he tells us about the fact that when we watched him look her up, we had a cut. After that happened, he went to her office and started stalking him and following her. After that happened, he went to her office and started stalking her and following her everywhere that she went. Followed her home and began watching her through her window. Guys, so before we had that very perfect first meeting of him being 10 minutes late and the perfect dialogue set they had, he had been stalking her for a week before that. Very healthy behavior. You do not need therapy at all. You're just healthy. I just don't understand who let him out of the prison. Why did you let him out of the prison? Because if this is your opinion of somebody who should be free, God help us all. That's all I can say. Well, he's telling us all of that, he's still sitting in front of Sarah and talking to her. So he adds to all of those backstories that we were missing a beautiful internal thought. As she asks her questions, I make sure I give her enough of me to keep her engaged so I can keep fucking her in my mind. Taking her on every surface of this office. In my fantasy, she loves it, but in reality, she'd hate me and herself. I too hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Okay? Thank you. If you think that that's the end, no, it's not. He starts describing to us all the things that he wants to do to her body on different surfaces of that office. And he ends that thought with telling us she doesn't know it yet, but she'll love to be fucked by someone she can't fix. Oh, she doesn't know it. You do. So she doesn't know what she likes or wants, but you do. Got it? Thank you very much. To be treated like a whore by someone she can't reach would drive her nuts. And she'd take it out on my dick. No comments. Actually, I don't have any decent comments to give you. That's all I can tell you. He leaves the office, gets to his car and starts jerking off in the car in the middle of the day in the parking lot of her office while she's standing behind the window. Well, at least he's not taking it out on her and doing it to himself. For now. Okay? If this is the as far as he got, it would have been fine. But no. This is the beginning. Okay? We get to watch him off himself in the parking lot. And she's standing behind the curtains. And he's like, oh my god, I hope she realizes what I'm doing while thinking about her. I hope she does. And I hope that she calls the police on you. Was nobody walking by while you were doing this? Can somebody just call the police and get this man back to prison? Please? Nope, I guess not. And while having this beautiful moment in the parking lot by himself, unfortunately he tells us, I need to come. I wouldn't need to hurt myself to get off if I could just fuck her right now. She's a bitter little vessel for me to dump my load inside. And I'd only need her mouth or her cunt. This man called her a vessel to dump his load in. That's the love interest of this book. He's a disgusting man. How is that supposed to be hot? How did she write this book thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to add that and it's going to make him more dark and mysterious and people are going to love that? What woman likes reading that coming out of a man's mouth? Maybe I'm too gay for this. Maybe that's the problem. I don't think so, but let me know if it is. When that beautiful moment is done, we switch POVs to Sarah. And guess what? She's standing behind the window, watching him get himself off. Yes, she is. She sees him throw back his head and the hand movements. Do something about this. You're the therapist who is assigned to making sure that a dangerous criminal just doesn't get off to the streets. And you are watching him show a very dangerous behavior in the public, in his car, that people can walk by. Okay, this is not a minimum thing. It's in the middle of the day. It's not in a secluded area. It's in the open. Do something about it. Tell the parole officer. Even if you don't want to do that, write it down and bring it up next session. Do something other than standing there and just watching. Why are you you should be afraid. He just left your office. So it's probably something that happened between the two of you. So he's either attracted to you, which is dangerous for you, or he has some dark fantasies about you because he's sick. You just said it. Do something for the love of God. But this woman doesn't. She's just like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's tying his shoes. She says it sarcastically, but even the fact that she said that is diabolical. I'm going to make it worse for you because it got worse. But there's something about him that stupidly makes me want to cut him open and let his insides spill all over me. I want to pull him apart and understand how someone becomes so fucked up and disconnected from reality that other human beings. Is that your professional note, doctor? We continue with Sarah's perfect internal monologue. It tells us that for somebody like Maxime, his brother would be more of a thing than a person, and him dying would be like a broom getting through a wood chipper. And then she asks us, Oh my god, what is wrong with me? Did I just compare a little boy to a broom? Yeah, you sure did. Maybe you need therapy also. Maybe you should be nobody's therapist. And then our beautiful, lovely doctor says, is mental illness contagious? Can my patient's long list of personality disorders rub off on me? You're a psychologist! What is this nonsense? Why are you... I'm speechless. This is a type of dangerous beliefs that our society have, and we're trying so hard to get past that, and you're right. And a professional psychologist's internal monologue to be like, is mental illness contagious? No, maybe your stupidity is though. Okay, I know I'm being rude, but I was so mad reading this, and I'm mad still. Why is a psychologist asking this? Is it contagious? Shut up! Just shut up. Anyway, she calls the parole officer, tries to send Maxime to another doctor. They say nobody else has time, blah blah blah. The only point of this is that you know that, oh my god, she tried to get out, she just couldn't because she's too nice to let him go back to prison. Fine. Bite me.
So I just realized that my mic was off. Sorry for that. We're going to have better audio quality now. And you can hear me yell at you better. Okay, let's go. Where were we? Look at my baby cat. Yeah? Next chapter. Maxime tells us that his new routine is that he follows her out of the office to her home, watches her go through her home, take off her clothes, and get into the shower every single day. And my question to you is that what is his job? Because it's a necessity that he has a job because he's out on parole. Is your job stalking your therapist? So do you write down bodyguard? What's your job? He just watches her, and he tells us that the bathroom door is a pixelated kind of glass. He watches her and touches himself. Blah blah blah. I hate him. I hate him so much. Again, the internal monologue is awful. He just keeps repeating to us what he wants to do with her. And it's not like I want her to like me and want to be with me. No, it's like I want to force her into doing this and that. Make her scared enough to say yes to that and that. And that's just all that he keeps telling us. And we switch POVs to Sarah. She's not a very interesting character. She tells us that she's a workaholic. But are you? Because wait for it. The next paragraph is her telling us, I can barely take care of my own needs. I'm tired of carrying my clients' problems and horrific pasts like a weight around my neck. No one should be expected to cart around their own baggage along with anybody else. First of all, you picked this job. You were the one that decided that you want to spend your time being a psychologist. This is the field that you chose. So why are you talking about it like this? And you just told us that you're a workaholic. And from my knowledge, a workaholic is a person whose first priority is their job, and they spend so much time doing that, and they're addicted to that. You sound like you hate your job, and you only do it because it's necessary, and you have to. How are you a workaholic? Just because you have a hard workload and you don't have enough free time, that doesn't make you a workaholic. Okay? If I have to exercise so many hours of the day for whatever reason, that doesn't mean I'm addicted to exercising. Then I have to. And if I had another choice, I wouldn't. Whatever. I hate Sarah too. She's boring and I hate her. She keeps going on and on and on about Maxim and how he doesn't want to open up, but he's very interesting to her. She keeps talking about him. Nothing is interesting. She gets to the shower and she tries to use that shower head to get herself off, and that's fine. But what happens is that while imagining a person doing things to her, suddenly she imagines Maxine. And that's such a turn off for her that she just gets out of the shower. Based on everything else that's going to happen in this book, I'm going to tell you that I don't buy it, but whatever. At the beginning of the book, at least, she has the decency to not think about her patient like that. Chapter 9, Maxime. Sarah asks her in the therapy session if he has been able to hold a job. And he says, nope, people are not that willing to hire a felon. Have you been trying? Because from my knowledge, you've been behind her window all day long. Who was supposed to hire you? Her? As a bodyguard, maybe. Maybe take that suggestion. That could help you. And while listening to her telling him how important it is to have a job and a routine, he delights us by telling us that he's certain that she was using that shower head for nefarious acts. Okay, so you're standing in the bushes, watching to a window, second floor window, and she's in the shower, so another window picks you whatever. And you saw the shower head and you're like, you were using that for that. Maybe you're a fae. Maybe he's a fae and he could smell it. That would make more sense. Then, does he have an X-ray vision? How did you even see the shower head? Whatever, who am I to say? Maybe he could tell. She asks question. And Maxim is being Maxime, avoiding everything. And he says, she breaks her professional facade and allows her shoulders to fall. She sighs. I'm frustrating her, and I love it. When has she ever been professional? It's been 9 chapters. I have not seen a professional person once. She has been unprofessional since the moment we met her. And now she breaks the professional facade? Nope. Not the Sarah that I know. Getting more frustrated by him, she says, I'm done with this session. I'm clearly the only one taking our session seriously, and I'm done placating you today. Again, as I said, that time is theirs, not yours. As a psychologist, you need to be present for every second of that hour. You can't be like, I'm done, you're frustrating me. Is this the professional person that we're talking about? Is professionalism in the room with us? In the planet with us? No, it's not. This is not professional. So what does she do when she's ending a session but sitting there? She starts typing about him, in front of him. Just imagine your therapist doing that. Just imagine the moment they go behind their desk, you're sitting there, and they start typing about you. Great moment, isn't it? And honestly, I think it's very normal that he asks her, what are you writing about? And she answers, it's none of your business. Is this kindergarten? Are we in kindergarten? It's none of your business. And he says, you're writing about me, so it's my business. Again, kindergarten. I think we're in kindergarten. Since she doesn't answer him, he gets up and we get blessed by this paragraph. I stand up straight and wipe my hands down my jeans, smoothing my lap. Her eyes stay glued to the screen, but if she just turns a fraction of an inch towards me, she'll get an eyeful of my dick, straining against the fabric. Why is he always hard? Doesn't it hurt him to be hard 24/7? Because apparently he's hard every single time he sees her And since he's stalking her, so that's 24/7. Isn't it frustrating for him? Isn't he exhausted by the amount of hardness that he experiences a day? Because I am frustrated and exhausted by the amount of times I've read that. Chapter 10, Sarah. Oh, good. We're going to hear from Sarah again. She has another client that has been coming to her regularly, and this poor woman, the only innocent character in this book, is sitting in front of her therapist, telling her about her life, and unfortunately, we get to hear Sarah's opinion about it. She says to us, newly and unhappily married, pregnant again, with a 1 year old at home who runs her ragged. She told me this baby was an attempt to save her marriage. The non-professional in me wanted to ask if that has ever worked in the history of marriages. There's no professional in you. You're just unprofessional through and through. And if my therapist judged me like this, I would never see them again. I hate Sarah's thoughts, especially as a psychologist. This is not okay. The psychologist should not be judging you every second. They should be trying to understand and compassionate towards you. This is not okay. And while this poor woman is talking and she is telling us all the bullshit thoughts that she has about her, her whole focus is on Maxine. And she keeps thinking that Maxine is sitting in the parking lot looking through the window. Yeah, I'm sure that woman is very happy paying you and trusting you to be listening to her while you're thinking about another one of your clients that's so hard and dangerous. Great job, Sarah. Dr. Sarah Reeves. She tells us, but how can I focus on any patients? Any patients? Shouldn't this be any patient? Singular? English is not my first language. On any patients, I think this is wrong after I've had a session with Maxine. If you are not professional enough to be able to focus on other people after one client has left your office, rearrange your schedule. Make it so that there's no more clients after him. Because this is so rude and unethical of you to be sitting in front of a patient, pouring themselves out for you, and you're thinking about a psychopath. Because you find them attractive. Because let's not joke around. You're not thinking about him because you're worried. You're just attracted to him. The not listening gets so bad that this poor patient turns to her and is like, my cat is making sound. Sorry. And she says, sorry, Dr. Reeves, are you listening to me? I am so embarrassed for you that you're so bad at your job that you're doing this to a poor woman who wants your help. I'm so ashamed of you. Chapter 11, Maxine, our favorite boyfriend. He's stalking Sarah shopping, and this is the part that we get to the perfect trigger warning that we had, ruining a food. Sarah is touching cantaloupes. Yes, cantaloupes. That's the food that is going to be ruined. And she's just testing them. She this is such an absurd scene. So she puts down a cantaloupe and picks up another one and takes it with him. And Maxim just jumps in, moves the woman that is trying to pick the first cantaloupe up aside, and is like, if you touch that, I'm going to come to your home and kill you. Just so that he can pick that cantaloupe up and take it home with him. Who wrote this and why? You stuck her to her home. You can't just get in and pick a cantaloupe up from her fridge. You have to shove a woman aside and be like, this is mine. Okay, cool it down. He takes the cantaloupe home and shoves his member into the hole. One of the most disgusting scenes I've ever read. Because he's doing the yes with the fruit, and the juices keep leaking out because it's a fruit, and then he tastes that and is like, I'm going to pretend that this is her sweetness on my tongue. Yes, I do agree that this ruined the cantaloupe. I don't know if anybody likes it. I definitely don't. But ew. Okay, if you want to use that fruit, fine. Okay, whatever, do it. But the descriptions were disgusting. Okay, disgusting. And at the end, when he gets there, he puts the ew. I'm not going to continue. Just know that this is disgusting, and he drinks it. Yes, he does. The next day, we switch POVs to Sarah. Maxim is late again, this time 40 minutes. When he shows up, she's like, okay, this is too late. Which, yeah, 40 minutes late to a 1 hour session is too late. He says, I had car problems. And ignoring her protest completely, gives her a container in which are pieces of cantaloupe. And says that this is one of my favorites. And Sarah says, yeah, mine too. Oh god. As if the last chapter was not disgusting enough. Reading every single detail of this disgusting man off getting himself off with a cantaloupe. Now we get to watch him give it to Sarah to eat. Sarah is so touched by this kindness that when Maxime tells her that, okay, tell the court that I was here the whole 1 hour because he should not miss a mandatory session. And next session, I'm going to tell you more about myself. And she says yes. She loves cantaloupe that much, I guess. And she says yes. Again, unprofessional, unethical, so wrong. Because again, they have put you in charge of deciding if he's dangerous for the society. And you're just like, yeah, you didn't show up. I'm going to tell them that you did. Because he gave you a fruit that you don't. Maxim says, enjoy, while smirking. We know what's going on, but poor Sarah doesn't. And even though she's like, I'm not going to eat it, she is so hungry that she eats a piece of that cantaloupe. And she's like, something is wrong with the taste. It has a salty aftertaste. Oh my god. I don't want to imagine that too much. Nope, 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 nope. So just she dumps it into a plastic bag and writes on it, if something happens to me, check this fruit. It came from Maxim, whatever his last name is. What do you think that taste was? No, seriously, Sarah. Let's brainstorm. What was it? Did he not wash his hands? And that's the salt. Did he accidentally pour salt into it? Or do you really think that there's a chemical thing in this thing that's dangerous? Because if it's the last one, it seems like you think it's that. Go to a hospital. Why are you going home? Because she goes home. Why are you going home? If your dad's scared. And why are you... How is it that you don't give a shit about that? What was that taste, Sarah? Unfortunately, I do know that, but the mid-reaction is killing me. She doesn't give a shit. She's like, ew, that tasted disgusting. Not going to eat the rest of it. Hope I don't die. Hey girl, you do you. Chapter 13. Maxine. Of course, he is watching her go into her home, holding the container that the cantaloupe was in, and he is so giddy, so happy and excited that she ate that cantaloupe. And ooh, I had a gift there. Are you 13? First of all, disgusting. And second of all, are you 13? Why did you even come up with this disgusting idea? And why are you happy about it? Ew. Just ew, okay? And uh, she always goes to the shower first, but this time she doesn't. So he realizes that she was so tired that she just skipped that. She sits in front of TV, falls asleep. He sneaks in, goes to her bathroom, takes her toothbrush, and uses it to get off. And it spills on the toothbrush. Disgusting scene after disgusting scene. This is supposed to be a dark romance. There should be something hard about this. And ugh, this is not it. Again, maybe I am too gay for this, but oh my, ew, just ew. And not only does he put it on that, he spills the rest of it on something that he calls a purple poof. So what she washes herself with. Imagine this poor woman waking up in the morning, going to the bathroom and brushing her face. Lauren Biel, thank you so much for this beautiful book. Okay, moving on. I'm going to just move on before I throw up. I just know that he says to us that he's not sure that this is enough anymore because it's not giving him the dopamine rush that he wants, and soon he's going to do more to her. Chapter 14, Sarah. She starts her day with a sour taste in her mouth. And she thinks it's the lingering taste of the cantaloupe because it tastes the same. Moving on, not going to stand on that. She decides that she's going to go on a run. And while being on a run, okay, another nitpicky detail that I'm going to mention. So she's on a run, and usually when you're doing something, you feel watched. Okay, when you feel watched, yes, after that you can have goosebumps. But she describes this as this. As I try to catch my breath and slow my racing heart, the hair on the back of my neck prickles. I assume it's from the sweat, so I reach towards my neck to wipe it away, but the prickling sense only spreads down my arms. Now I'm suspicious. I feel watched. So your hairs reacted before you felt watched? So the hairs felt it first? What do you mean? You thought it was sweat. You were like, oh, and it spread. And you were like, huh, that's weird. Oh, I felt watched? That's not how that works. You feel watched and then you have goosebumps. It's not like your hair go bling and you're like, huh? Ooh, I feel watched. Why was this written like this? Whatever. She feels watched. It's like, hello, is somebody there? Nobody answers. Keeps running. Boom, a hand covers her face. It's a man wearing a mask, smelling like latex. And she thinks, oh my god, this is how I'm going to die. So have this in mind that she's terrified and she's convinced that she's going to die. That's how scared she is in this moment. She asks this man, what do you want from me? He says, every fucking thing. I want everything from you. We know it's Maxine, but imagine a stranger in a mask telling you this in the middle of the woods. She begs, please don't. So I want you to again have this in mind. She was running. Somebody covered her mouth. It's a stranger with a mask. She's scared of thinking she's going to die, and she says, please don't, begging. So the consent is not there. There's not a sprinkle of consent in this. She's alone in the woods. No consent is here. This man says to her, I love that I can see just how your body reacts to fear. You're scared, aren't you? Afraid of what I'll do to you. Your mind is racing too. Are you wondering if I'll fuck you? So we know it's Maxine. He knows she's scared too. There's no doubt in his mind that she's scared, terrified. Again, there is no consent here, and he knows that there's no consent here. She's extremely afraid, and he tells her, don't talk or make a sound. Don't scream unless it's from pleasure. If you can't follow directions, I'll slit your throat and leave you to bleed out right here. So we know that he's not going to do that, but she doesn't. Okay, she thinks that she's going to die if she does anything. The consent is leaving the building. Okay, it has left. It's gone into another planet. She's now terrified of dying. So what he does is start finger banging her. I don't know about you, but in my logic and opinion, this is rape. The person did not want it, told you no, begged you no, you threatened their life, and now you're entering them with your fingers. That's rape. Calling it DOPCON or even non-con is diabolical because this is rape. This is a crime. This is illegal. You should call the police. There is no part of this that is okay. This is a total crime, violent crime. And I do not know why is it not painted like that in this book. And what was the point of this scene being here? Because this is complete and utter rape. No other words can I use to describe this scene. She gets near to the destination that they have, and she says to us, this feels so good. This is so wrong. I'm going to come to psychopath's touch. That's natural, actually. That's your body's reaction, and I'm not going to fault her for this specific thing that she says. But then she says, just enjoy this moment. She's talking to herself. Just enjoy this moment, I tell myself. When was the last time someone touched you, wanted you? When was the last time you didn't feel so alone? The first two sentences are fine. I'm going to say that it's your coping mechanism, that you're like, okay, just enjoy it. Try to not be so terrified. I get that as a coping mechanism in that moment, but when did you not feel so alone? You're being attacked by a man in the woods. You don't feel alone right now? You should be feeling the most alone. Nobody's helping you. How is this making you feel less alone? And I know, this is why I hate this. I know that the writer put this here to be like, oh no, there was some resemblance of consent here. No, it was not. Okay, this is not consent. It should be before the act, not during it. Now she's being traumatized. This is not consent. When she arrives, he says, you're coming for me? Dirty fucking girl. You are her. You're a monster. You're a criminal. I hate you, and I hate every word that you say. She escapes, or he lets her go, and when she locks the door of her house behind her, she says, I've been assaulted. Yes, you have. I was attacked. Yes, you were. But why was the attack so one-sided? Just because there was not a PNV rape assault, that does not mean it was one-sided. Just because you were the only one who arrived in that situation, that does not mean it was. What do you even mean by one-sided? What is that word? Yes, it was one-sided by the attacker. Usually the person being attacked does not have a side. You know what I mean? What is this? I don't understand. Chapter 15, Maxim. Rapist himself. She goes to Sarah's office. This is the next day, right after the attack. Sarah is sitting there, lost in her thoughts, because she's traumatized. And he's like, did I do that to her? Yes, You did. Remember yesterday? Woods, mask, fingers? What do you mean did I do this to her? Yes, you did. No, she woke up sad this day. It was not your fault. Yes, you did. Why are you asking me that question? Go to hell. Exit this room. I hate you. I'm going to give you some examples of his thoughts because I can't be the only one who's angry. She's lost in a tortured mind, and maybe it's poetic justice. Maybe she's getting a taste of what it's like. Instead of analyzing the damaged goods, she has received a little damage herself. You belong in jail. You should be in prison. You should never get out of prison. You're a danger to society. What is wrong with you? Well, you're sick. Really. You're really, really sick. So, realizing that she is lost and not really hearing it, which is weird because even if you're in your thoughts very deep, a person talking right next to you, you're going to hear that. How lost are you? But he says, I killed them all. I pushed my brother into the well. Nothing. She's absolutely lost in her head. That lost? You entered the room. Talking. How lost is she? Is she even awake? Apparently she is. And then she just is like, oh, what did you say? Whatever. So he asks her, what is wrong? What's bothering you? Which is very rich coming from him. She says it's not appropriate for me to talk to you about my personal life. He reaches for her chin. She gets very, very scared and is like, I was attacked yesterday, so I would appreciate it if you didn't touch me like that. Fine. I'm not going to comment on that. And he says, where were you hurt? You monster. You did that to her. Why are you asking her that? And she gets embarrassed because she's like, oh, I did not get hurt. I arrived. Which is, again, very natural. And Maxim is like, you should go home and take care of yourself. And consider this a full hour session. He leaves. And Sarah just lets him. And decides that, oh yeah, I needed this very sick human being who I've been treating to tell me that I need to take a day off. Yes, of course you do. I don't understand. Why didn't you just take a day off? You're a psychologist. You know better. You should stay at home or go to your family or visit your own therapist. Don't you have one? Why did you come to work? What was the point of this? Just so that Maxine could come in and be like, go home, doc. Screw you, Maxine. Chapter 16. Sarah goes home. And she keeps thinking about the salt. And she falls asleep in her bed, waking up by a warmth between her legs. So she thinks to herself, this is a dream. You're feeling something between your legs. How is it that you think this is a dream? Then she realizes that, oh, it's a person. It's a masked person looking at her. It's like, oh, it's not a dream. And I'm like, good, she got it. And then she says, this is a nightmare. You're seeing a person between your legs. You are not dreaming if you're feeling them. How deep is your sleep? I am a deep sleeper, okay? Nothing wakes me up. But if somebody's touching me, oh, I'm waking up. And I'm not thinking, oh, this is a dream. Oh no, what a nightmare. That's a person. Wake up. Jesus. And she realizes that what's causing the warmth between her legs is a hunk. And that's when she realizes, no, I'm not dreaming, it's a person. Duh. Yes, it is actually a person. Eating me out. Oh god. As she says again, please. That's begging. That's again saying no. And the person, which we know is Maxime, says, please what? And Sarah's internal monologue is, tell him to stop. Tell him to keep fucking going. I'm so conflicted, so confused. I understand you're very traumatized. I'm just going to keep my comments to that. I get it. You're traumatized. You have every right to be. So he keeps finger banging her. I still think that this is assault. Because she was not aware of you wanting to do this. You just got there and got in and started pumping. That's not consent. Yes, she's not actively telling you no, but she's not actively telling you yes. And consent is not consent until the yes is beyond doubt. And this is not yes, just not no. She arrives and then immediately tries to turn on the light, and he grips her hand, tells her, I'm leaving in the darkness. If you touch that light switch before you hear the front door, I'll come back next time you fall asleep and I'll kill you and wear your blood instead of your cum. Do you understand? She says. I understand that you're a monster too. Good job. Very good job. Chapter 17, Maxim. She's again going to her office and repeating to us all the things that he has done to her and how much he has enjoyed it. And oh, I'm a bad person, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Yada yada yada. And when he enters her room office without knocking, he sees that she's crying. It's a very sad thing because you did that to her. But what does he say? When I step inside, she's crying at her desk. I should have knocked, but then I would have missed out on seeing this painful, raw emotion oozing out of her. Why are you sounding like you think it's a good thing? It's not. She's traumatized. Why are you happy about it? I don't get it. He's just a monster. Okay, hi again. I was so tired. I took a break. I was really angry and exhausted. I got more cozy. I have a blanket here. I tied my hair back. Let's have the rest of this perfect, beautiful story that's shortening my life. It's a novella. I can't even imagine what I would have done if it was a whole book. So after we get that perfect description from Maxime and how happy he is that she's showing some raw emotions, Sarah tries to tell him that she's in no shape to have a session right then. But Maxime, as we know him very, very well, does not take no for an answer. So it doesn't matter in what situation there are. If she says no, he says, I don't care. So he sits in front of her and is like, okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm in the mood to talk. I'm going to tell you whatever it is that you want. And what game do they play? Each of them gets to ask one question and hear the other one's answer. I'm going to point out again here, this is very unprofessional of Sarah. Okay, even though a therapist is a person and they're not a machine or a robot, the client should not know personal details about the therapist. It's a rule, it's a universal rule. I'm sure it's the same in the US. I'm not in the US, as many of you know. So it's very wrong of her to say yes to this, but she's Sarah, and as we have come to know her, she doesn't really care about the rules, and she's not really that professional. So she says yes. Maxim says, what do you want to know, dog? Oh, I should mention it here. I hate the fact that his nickname for her is Dog. Hate it. So you wrote a taboo romance, fine. You wrote it badly, fine. Why did the nickname have to be so in our face? He keeps calling her Dog. Okay, we get it. It's a doctor-patient romance. Let it go. I feel my cat. Oh my god. I'm going to insert a picture here. He's sitting underneath my bed. Maxim says, what do you want to know, Doc? And Sarah's like, did you kill your brother? Because that's the big question that she and us as the readers have about Maxim. I personally do not have even one question about Maxim. I couldn't care less about him. Put him in jail. Just let him be in jail so that the society is safe from him. But apparently Sarah and other readers have this question of, did you kill your brother? And Maxim says, bold question, but yes, I did. Confession. She asks why, and Maxim points out the fact that nope, those are not the rules. I answer one question, you answer another one. So Maxim asks her, why were you crying? And Sarah responds with saying, it's not appropriate for me to tell you. None of this is appropriate. Okay, this is all inappropriate. The fact that you're playing this game is wrong, so you just said yes. So just answer the damn question, okay? Maxim is like, spill. And she says, I think I have a stalker, and he broke into my house last night. Maxim asks what he do to you, and he tells us, a spark of jealousy ignites in my gut. Why the fuck am I getting jealous of myself? It was my mouth on her, my tongue that made her come. It's funny that you're asking us the question, but it should be us who ask you the fact that, what are you getting jealous about? She's not saying, hey, I'm in love with my stalker. He's just saying, I have a stalker. Why are you getting jealous? Of her or of yourself? What was the logic of him getting jealous? He repeats his question, what he fucking do to you? And she says, he used his mouth on me. Is that the appropriate answer? So I think it's just my opinion. I'm not putting words in victim's mouth. But I think if somebody asks a victim, what happened to you? They say, I was assaulted, right? I was essayed, I was raped, I was assaulted. I don't think they would say, he used his mouth on me. Why would you say it like that? You know, what was the point of this sentence? Why are you saying it like, you know what I'm saying? Or am I being crazy? He says, so you're telling me someone came into your room and put his mouth on you? That's not a sucker, baby. That's a boyfriend. Shut up. Okay, shut up. You know what you did, and so does she. And even if you did not know that, that's so rude to tell someone that. And do not call her baby. Shut up. Shut up. Okay? She says, there's this thing called consent, Maxim. Yes, Sarah, but there is this thing called consent that did not exist in your situation. I just don't understand why I cannot see that in your internal monologue. And I'm not victim blaming, I'm author blaming. Because that's how she wrote this, that when she's talking to him, it's like she knows that there was no consent. But when we go to her POV, it's like, yeah, but why did I want it? You didn't. You woke up to it. Why are you trying to make his crimes less? I'm talking to the author. By putting words in her mouth. I get the guilt of survivors of this violent acts being like, why didn't I act a certain way? But I think in this case, it's just the author trying to tell us that no, she's not really not consenting. It's just some consent in her brain. No, consent is not in the back of your mind. You need to say it or show it in a very, very direct way. And there is a thing called consent. Sarah, you're right. Maxime answers. Did you tell him you didn't want it? Better yet, did you want it? You broke into her house. She woke up with you between her legs. What do you mean did you tell him you didn't want it? Of course you didn't want it. She didn't invite you there. She wasn't like, oh, come to my bed. You went there on your own. What do you mean did you tell him you didn't want it? Of course you didn't. It doesn't matter that she didn't stop him. Maybe she couldn't. Maybe she froze. It doesn't matter what her reaction was. The fact is that she did not herself tell you as a masked man or as yourself that, hey, I want this, that means she didn't want this. What the hell is this question? Sarah gets very frustrated that he doesn't understand, which is really rich. Why are you talking to your client about this? You should yourself go to therapy and discuss this with your therapist, not with your patient who is a known criminal. Sarah gets angry, yells at him that I was assaulted, I didn't consent to this, you shouldn't, it was stupid of me to believe that you would understand this, yelling, and then Maxim says, I'm sorry, which he's not. He just says it to end the fighting there. And she asks her next question. Why did you kill your foster parents? He answers, I killed my foster parents because they were abusive pricks who didn't deserve to draw air. Well, by that logic, neither do you, because you are also abusive, and a rapist, and a stalker. So you don't deserve to draw breath either. What is the double standard? They were bad because they were harming you, and you're okay because you're harming other people. Maxim's next question. Answer my earlier question. When that man put his mouth on you, did you want it? Did you come on his tongue? You asshole! Even if he was not that bad, which he is, even if it was another person, that's such a rude and disgusting question to ask an assault survivor. I hate you. Sarah gets angry again and is like, get out of my office, you sadistic. Oh, he calls her an asshole too. Yeah, he is one. I said it, and Sarah said it too. You like getting a rise out of me, don't you? You're letting him. You're his therapist. Sitting there talking about your assault with him. That's your fault. Okay? You're the one in charge here. You're making the mistakes. And yes, he's an asshole, but you're giving him the opportunity to be one. Suddenly, he kisses her. Yes, you heard me right. He, boom, kisses her. And Sarah's like, Maxime, no. Which part of me talking to you about what happened to me and being mad at you told you to, hey, come kiss me? Don't ever do that again. And then she kisses him. The logic was just running out of that office. Why the hell did he kiss her? I don't know. And why in the world was she like, don't do this again, oops, I'm going to do it? What? I feel like the author was like, ooh, I need to write a first kiss scene, and I want them to be fighting. So let's put it there. It was the most unnatural thing. Why the hell did they kiss? I don't know, they just said it did. Chapter 18 is from Sarah's point of view. She's in the kitchen cooking some noodles, freaking out about the fact that she kissed him. Rightfully. Honestly, she should freak out about that fact that you kiss a client in your fucking office. And the fact that you started talking about your personal life and assault with him before that. You should be freaking out. She's continues saying the stupid things and freaking out and tells us, I kissed a client. I avoid knowing that he could file a complaint about me or get my license revoked. At the very least, have me suspended from practice. That's the only thing you're worried about? Your license? It's unethical. You're in a position of power. You're his doctor. You're his therapist. It's so unethical, immoral. You should not be doing this. This is considered abuse of power. And the only thing that you're freaking out about is that he could revoke your license? Sarah, you need therapy. Okay, you need a professional help because something is clearly wrong with you. And not because of the fact that you were assaulted, that's not what I'm saying. Something is wrong with your personality, okay? Your judgment is off. It's just gone. And you really don't know what you're doing, okay? Then she thinks to herself, turn him in first. No one will believe him from prison. Sarah, dear, call a psychologist, please. I'm begging you, call somebody. Because of your inner thoughts, because you were assaulted, you just need help. Maybe seek that out. This is not okay. Then what does she do? While cooking, one of her hands go into her underwears and she starts working on herself while cooking and thinking about how bad and unethical of a thing it is that she's doing. Kissing a client, even though she's his therapist. And while freaking out, she starts doing stuff to herself. And I'm like, right now? You want to do it right now in front of a stove? Okay, more power to you, girl. She thinks about Maxine more and more. Her dinner is burnt. She arrives, and as soon as she does, she goes to the bathroom and retches. I do not believe you. I think that the author only wrote this in to be like, no, she's suffering. No, I don't believe this. I believe that this was something that she added to be like, oh no, she's not an unethical person. She's just confused. No. She doesn't care. She's doing it in front of a stove, knowing that she has a stalker. Not drawing the curtains. Okay? She doesn't care about morality or ethicalness. Okay? Ethics are gone. Bye-bye. They said bye, they left. They're gone. She did not retch. Believe me, she did it. Chapter 19. Maxim. It's again the day before one of their sessions, and because he wants to see her reaction the next day, usually the day before he does stuff to her. And he says that his hand is not enough anymore, and tonight, no is not an answer. Consent, huh? No is not the answer is the sentence which killed consent. So nothing that happens after that sentence is consensual. You cannot convince me. He gets into her house, goes to her room. She's sitting on the bed and has dialed 911. I mean, didn't dial it, just put on the numbers, and she just has to hit dial and shows his phone to him to be like, hey, I'm going to dial them if you come any closer. And he sees it and is like, go ahead, call them. Guess what? She doesn't. Guess what else happens? They do it. They start doing it on the bed. This is the first time that we have penetration. It happens. I guess it's amazing. She's happy while telling us, no, this is wrong. What is wrong with me? But I guess she enjoys it. I don't know if I call it consent or not, since she is traumatized by what happened in the woods. And after that, I want to say no. I think she should be in safe and sound mind to give consent, but at least it's not full-on assault. It's a gray line. It's dark romance. I get that. I'm going to let this one time slide by. And then he is getting closer to the finish line. She's like, do not do it in me. And thankfully, he says, okay, and pulls out. The bar is in hell, but at least he did that, I guess. Thank you, Maxim. Very mask. Chapter 20, we have Sarah. At the beginning of the chapter, she tells us, I ache between my legs from yet another assault. No, I'm not allowed to call it that. I let him fuck me, and now I have to deal with the emotional aftermath. I don't know. Honestly, this is a gray line that I don't know. Yes, you did let him. I'm not sure if you were in the right mental space to give that consent, but you're an adult. I don't know. I guess if you say so, then yes, you did. She's having some complicated thoughts about the previous night, thinking about whether she wanted it, if it's okay, is it crazy that she's attracted to that? Thoughts just keep going and going, and she suddenly thinks about the fact that she's going to see Maxine today. And she's like, oh my god, what if it is Maxine? And immediately she's like, I shake my head. I would know if he'd been the man making me come. He'd probably call me Doc if it were him. Okay, let's say you're a psychologist. You work with criminals. You're living your life, it's boring, it's all routines, nothing exciting. Suddenly, a new person who was recently released from prison, has been there for 4 years, 3, 4, whatever, becomes your client. You see him looking through your window in their car, getting himself off. Then you suddenly get a stalker that attacks you. Shouldn't you put 2 next to 2 and be like, maybe the answer is 4? Shouldn't you at least be suspicious that these people are the same people? So it took you 53% of the book to even think about the fact that what if it is Maxime? He killed somebody. He was in prison. He's new. He's the newest addition to my life. Are you naive? And then she's like, no, I would know if it were him. Yeah. Yeah. He talked to you while assaulting you. Didn't you hear his voice? Didn't you see his body type? You know, the muscles, the form of his body, the neck, the height. So you're telling me you couldn't put all of those things together and be like, oh, it's Maxime? You saw him coming into your room. It wasn't dark. How? Is it that you think, oh no, I would have known? Yeah, you should know. I'm not saying 100% you should at least be suspicious about it. And he would probably call me Doc while doing it. No, because he's not stupid. Of course he's not going to call you Doc, because then you'd know it's him. What is this logic? Yeah, he would call me Dad, the only thing that he calls me, so that I would know it's him. Then why is he wearing the mask? Are you dumb, or do you think he's dumb? Because I think both of you are dumb, but you're the dumber one. He's at least a little bit intelligent. Chapter 21, Maxim. How the hell am I supposed to sit here in front of her without replaying last night in my mind? I do not know. Do not talk to me. Don't address me, don't ask me questions. I don't know, I don't care. Get out of my head. I hate him. Jeez. Sarah's talking, Maxim is not listening. Sarah asks him, are you listening to me? Maxim says no. Leans towards her, and she's like, Maxime, think about what you're doing. What is he doing? I don't know. And he says, I've thought about it plenty, mainly while I stood outside of your house. I'm going to repeat that. Mainly while I stood outside of your house. Let's put a poll here. Do you think that Sarah, after hearing this sentence, is going to be, Maxim is stalking me, Maxim is the stalker, Maxim is innocent? Which one of these 3 do you think she's going to think about? Keep your answer in your mind. We're going to get to it. She shakes her head. Stop lying to me. You're just trying to get a rise out of me. You have a masked stalker who appeared in your life after you met Maxime. He's a criminal. You have seen him with a mask on, but you've seen his body. And now he's telling you, hey, I've been standing outside of your house. And you're like, nah, you're trying to bother me. Okay. You're stupid. I'm sorry. I don't want to victim blame, but you are stupid. Okay? Or at least the author is trying to make you stupid to keep this fantasy going on. Because there's no way she didn't hit that and was like, it's you. You're the one doing this to me. Come on. He gives her some more details about her home, the address and stuff, to be like, hey, I've been there. And she says, that is extremely inappropriate. Inappropriate? Sarah, this is illegal. This is stalking. This is dangerous. This is call the police 911. I have a stalker. What do you mean this is inappropriate? Okay, we have passed inappropriate for the last 262 pages of this book that I've read. I have this on my phone. That's the best word you could come up with? Inappropriate? Maxim answers, yeah, it is, but do you know what's more inappropriate? I've come so many times to you as you strip and shower. That's a confession, Sarah. Put the 2 next to the damn 2. Sarah says, I'm calling the police. Maxim says, go on, call them. She doesn't, and he's like, I don't think you would do something to put you back in prison. He says, you don't know me, which no, she really doesn't. He is like, I'm going to bang you right here. And if you call the police afterwards, it's worth it. And Sarah says, okay, in one condition, if you answer one of my questions. You're going to give up your body for an answer? You're stupid. I hate you two. I hate him and I hate you. I hate both of you. And what is the question, you might ask? Did you kill your brother? Sarah, she already answered that. Remember the game you were playing? Why do you even care that much? I'm shocked. And so is Maxime, because he says, what a question. What a stupid book this is. He starts using his finger, saying to her yes as the answer to the very important question that she had, and they start doing it on the desk. Yay! We're here. Great. I was waiting for the desk thing. Yay. And then Maxim reaches to the phone that's on the desk and dials up 911 and gives the phone to her and is like, I'm giving you the chance to call them. If you want to take it, you should. And while the operator is like, hey, 911, what's your emergency? She's like, yeah, I'm Dr. Sarah Reeves. I wanted to call I don't know, my secretary, and I should have dialed 912. Is it like that? Something like that. I accidentally dialed up 911. Sorry, there's no emergency. Some water. Wait. I want to say that I'm very disappointed in her, but honestly, at this point, yeah, I guess it checks out. From the character that Sarah has, of course she doesn't talk to the police. I don't care. They do it, they arrive, it's fun. She tells him in this scene, do not arrive inside me. And he says no, and just goes on and does it. Again, this is SA. Okay, in the middle of the act, even if you have consent, when you do one single thing that the other person said no to, assault. What you did right now? Assault. Jail. Call the police. 911. Come on. And then he gets ready to get out of the door and says, see you tonight. Chapter 22, Sarah. Sarah is trying to take a shower and thinking about the fact that maybe Maxim is watching me through the window. So remember the poll that I just said? What is Sarah thinking after having all the information of, hey, I was standing in front of your house and stuff. And I thought that 100% Sarah now knew that the stalker was Maxime. But in this paragraph, Sarah tells us, but that's not the only problem. I also have this situation with the masked men who always show up the same day. Sarah, there is no way you don't know that Maxime is the masked man. He just told you that he... Do you think you have two stalkers? Maxime and the other one? Do you think they shake hands behind the bushes being like, hi buddy, welcome to the show? Okay, you're dumb. There's no way you have a degree. There's no way you have a PhD if you cannot just be like, hey, that's the same person he's telling me. The author is dumbing the character down way too much to be even close to natural. She tries to get into the shower without Maxim seeing. As I said, Maxim shows up and is like, are you trying to ruin my nighttime routine? Sarah still does not know that he's the masked man. I do not know how, do not ask me, ask Lauren Biel. And Maxim asks her to take a shower while he's watching. First she says no, then she just do it. And Maxim leaves. When she gets out of the shower, she finds her underwear stained with his juices, let's just say. Oh god, let me be done with this stupid book. Chapter 23, Maxim. He is hiding in her closet while she thinks that he's gone, watching her move around. She gets into bed and starts doing stuff to herself. He's watching. And of course, she moans his name, and he's rock hard. She falls asleep. He goes to her. So as I told you, I'm a very, very deep sleeper. But if you touch me like this, I jump. The touch is the thing that wakes you up. He flips her on her back and does stuff to himself atop her. And it spills on her. And not once does she wake up. This is not a fantasy book, it's romance. This is not normal. Unless she's drugged, there's no way that you flip somebody and they're like, are you dead? Are you comatized? And consider the fact that she has not been asleep that long. He was in the closet. It hasn't been like 5 hours. It's just been one, mostly. It's stupid. He does this. He's very happy that she's going to wake up with that. Chapter 24, Sarah. Maxim shows up in the office. Sarah asks him, tell me about your time in the prison, Maxim. Yeah, remember what you did in this office last week? Are you really going to be talking about his prison time? And Maxim echoes my thoughts and says, we're still doing this? Seriously, you're still doing this? You should not be his therapist. You should call a parole officer and be like, I can't do this anymore. Not even say why, just change it. You can't help him now. You couldn't help him until now, but right now you definitely can't. And Sarah answers snarkingly, what, my job? Yes, I have certain requirements the court demands I fulfill regarding your treatment. Certain progress that needs to be made for them to consider successful. Now you're thinking about that? Where have this ethics for working as a psychologist been all this book? Now you care that. The things that you have to fulfill. Now that you have fucked him. Great. Thank you, Sarah. Maxim asks her, what do you need me to do? She says, I need you to open up and stop being like a shell of a person. And he's like, no, behind this shell of a person is a dark monster, and I'm saving you from that. Yes, dark, edgy, you're the worst. We get it. We hate you. You don't need to convince us more than this. Sarah tells us that this man admitted to being a murderer last week, and he just admitted he's capable of doing it again. I have a moral and legal responsibility to report my findings, because he's a risk to others. And he's not just a risk to others, he's a risk to me. Yes, doctor, you do have a responsibility. Glad that we're finally on the same page. Do you remember your job? Remember what you went to college and university for? Yeah, you do. Well, too late, because you've already crossed all the lines. Now you can't report him, because then he's going to be like, hey, also in her office, she fucked me. Yeah, you can't report him now, because now he has all the power in his hand, because you did the unethical thing. She says, I have a responsibility to report these acts, and he's like, yeah, unethical acts like sleeping with your client? She says, you can't use this against me. And he's like, yeah, I can. And yes, he can. Sarah asks, why are you doing this to me? And Maxim answers, because I'm in love with you. No, you are not. She has zero personality. You don't even know her. You're only obsessed with her body, and I don't even know how she looks like. So no, you're not in love with her, but whatever. Absolutely obsessed with you. Yes, Dad, I believe that. Sarah says, you can't be. Okay, whatever you say, Sarah. He kisses her. She lets him. Of course she does. It's the best kiss ever. Then tries to enter her from behind, and she says to us, I didn't see his thing when he had sex with me last week. I only felt the strength behind it as he stretched me. Looking at it now, I don't know how I fit in inside me. Yes, yes, he has the biggest ding dong who has ever ding donged. We know. Thank you for telling us, but we already know. He says the biggest thing in the biggest world. Maxim starts dirty talking about the fact that he has seen her do that last night behind the closet door. And it's like, why didn't you just ask me if you wanted it that bad? And she says to us, I could never ask him for what I've thought about. It's so wrong. I've never been able to utter those words out loud. The admission would mean I'm no longer a coerced therapist. It means I'm an unethical one. You already are. You're not coerced. You wanted it. Not the assault in the woods, but in the office with Maxime, when you know he was Maxime, you wanted it. You are an unethical therapist. You're not coerced. If you wanted to say no, you could have. You were in your office. Your secretary person was outside. He called 911 for you. You wanted it. So don't be like, no, I didn't want it. It doesn't matter if you say those words right now. You're an unethical therapist. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry, but you are. And while she's arriving, she tells us he's wild, dangerous, disgustingly sinful. So are you, so are you, so are you. He's so good with his mouth that I can almost forget he's a felon, a murderer, a sociopath. So are you. You are also a monster. Not a murderer, but an unethical, immoral person. Goodbye. What's your name? Sarah. And we end the chapter with this perfect part. He says, now I want you to finish your day and sit in front of each and every client with my cum dripping from you. Those poor clients. They already have the worst therapist in the world. And now they have to be a part of this stupid sexual fantasy. God help them. And she says, and despite how wrong I know it is, I also know I'll do exactly what he wants. Good job, doctor. Chapter 25, Maxim is still following Sarah while Sarah is going to the mall. Why is he still following her? I don't know. He's just a stalker. They go to the mall, she's shopping, and while picking up some dresses, well, when she's heading to the fitting rooms, he also takes a pair of bra and panties. They're purple. And Maxim is so shocked because she usually wears black and gray. So he sneaks to the fitting room and they bang in the fitting room. A public place. A very ethical professional doctor screws her client in a fitting room in the middle of a shopping mall. Good job, Sarah. I'm not going to tell you about that scene. It's as disgusting as you think it is. At the end, he tells her, pay for the bra. She says, what about the panty? And he puts it in his jacket, steals it, get out. And he's like, I'm sorry. So what are they going to do now? They are going to have lunch with each other. Chapter 26. Sarah. Now they're at lunch. Why did she have to come here? She says she didn't have a choice, but of course she did. She just wants to and doesn't want to tell us that she wants to. She's not talking to him. So he asks, are you going to ignore me the whole time? And she says, you said we have to have lunch. You didn't say I have to talk to you. Yes, we're still in kindergarten, guys. She asks Maxime what is it that they have between them. Maxime answers, it's cold-blooded obsession. It's the closest I've been to another human. You did that, Doc. No, she didn't. You made her do that. You wanted it, you got it. Through force. She did not give you anything. And he asked her, what is it to you? And she can't answer. Because of course. Boring discussions. I couldn't care less about what these two stupid, crazy, disgusting people talk about. He tries to tell her about the past that he had and how bad it was. The system failed them. The foster homes sucked. And the foster system was really bad. Even though we just heard in the beginning of the book that they tried to send him to therapy, he just didn't want to go. So I don't know how it was their fault and not his. At the end, she softens and tells him, "Do you want to walk around the mall more?" And he says, "No, I'm going to take you to a special place." And she goes. Chapter 27, Maxime. He takes her to a park that he went to a lot when he was a child and tells her that he used to bike there when he was very young. And she's really excited because she feels like she has found a new layer of his character, even though she really hasn't. They meet three teenagers. One of them is younger. The two older ones are hurting him. Maxime scares them off and defends that little one. And Sarah suddenly is so touched by that. Like he has changed the world. He did one decent thing. Girl, keep it together. That's not that big of a deal. But she just hugs him and is like, "Oh my god, that was such a nice thing to do." I guess. And even Maxime himself is like, "It was nothing." And she says, "No, you're right, it was nothing. It was everything." He's a murderer, felon, belongs in prison. Okay, I guess. They start doing it in the back seat, and suddenly she finds something. What is it? A latex mask. And she is so shocked, angry, betrayed. And I was like, "You're telling me this is the first time you realized the masked man was him?" He gave you every single clue there was in the universe that I was the one stalking. And she's acting like she didn't even think about it once that it could have been him. She can't believe the betrayal. He's a sociopath criminal. You know he has killed his own brother. Are you really this shocked? Why? You're abusing your power and going out with him, but that doesn't mean that he has any loyalties towards you. And it's not like he's been keeping it a secret. You've just been too dumb to realize it. Everybody else would have, but you clearly didn't. Anyways, she starts freaking out trying to get out of there. Maxime's like, "I'm going to get you to the shopping mall parking lot to your car. Is that okay?" She says yes. They sit in the car. She's very sad, angry, and asks him, "Why did you do that?" And Maxime answers, "I can't explain why I had to have you like that, but I did. If I'd known I could have had you without the false pretenses, I'd never have needed to be him." Okay, those two sentences are so opposite each other. You don't know why you had to have her like that. But then you're saying if you could have her any other way and you knew, you wouldn't have had her like that. So you wouldn't have raped her. But you just said you don't know why you needed it like that. Did you do it because you... You know what I'm saying? I don't know why she's writing this book like this. Can we be done with this stupid story, please? So he decides that the best thing that he can do to apologize to her, I guess, is to tell her his backstory. And his backstory is a very traumatic one, as we expected. He and his twin brother had a very abusive household. Both of their parents were abusive, hid them, and put them in a secluded basement, locked them up there, and so he says that they were locked up there, trying to claw their way out. How are these parents the ones that you just said after your brother died, they wanted to send you to therapy? So did they hate you enough to put you in a basement for days that you run hungry and try to claw your way out? Or did they want you to be okay and want to send you to therapy? And did the author not see the problem with this? Did she write this book and be like, "Okay, that's cool"? Then reread it and was like, "Okay, that's cool." And gave it to an editor that was like, "Okay, that's cool." Uh, I don't know, maybe I'm the problem and those two things can be right at the same time. Okay, here's the thing. Even though I believe that it's very manipulative to tell your dark, sad backstory to somebody just so that they would forgive you for your wrongdoings. I also hate Sarah in these scenes. Every single sentence that he says, she's like, I don't believe him. He always lies. No, I don't believe him. Probably trying to manipulate me. He's using the stories of many Americans' children to manipulate me to forgive him. He's disgusting. She rolls her eyes. I'm like, you're a therapist. You can't even realize when somebody's being genuine. I hate her in these scenes. I hate him, but I hate her way more than I hate him. This scene is just disgusting, and I hate every second of it. She gets out of the car, leaves, cries in her car. She tells us Maxime belongs back in prison, and I'll be the one to put him there. Even though it may cost my career, I'm turning him in the moment I get back to the office on Monday. I have a lot of problems with this. First of all, you're using your power, you're abusing your power. Just because he hurt you, you're like, okay, you should go back to prison. I do believe that Maxim should be in prison, but you should have seen that for the whole society. You didn't care if he hurt anybody else in the world. You only started caring about that when he hurt you. So the only reason you want him in prison is yourself. You're selfish and you're abusing your power. You're only doing it because of revenge and not because you actually believe that he's dangerous. Because if you did, you wouldn't sleep with him. And this is so disgusting. And this is why therapists should not have a relationship with their clients, because they can easily abuse their powers. The person doesn't usually assault their therapist. That part of it is just this book. But if and in smaller scales, this is the abuse that we're talking about when we're saying that when there's a difference between the power dynamics, those two people should not have a relationship. And this is the great example. The moment she's heartbroken, I know that the situation is more complex, but if we had the assault part out of it, the moment she's heartbroken, she's using her power on him. And that's why this kind of relationships are so wrong in our world. Chapter 29, Sarah. She writes a recommendation saying that he's dangerous, he should be back in prison. Whatever. I hate it, I told you why. She's just trying to take revenge, and she keeps telling us how angry she is and how she's going to be very happy when he knows that she's the reason he's back in prison. But also, she decides to go to the location of his old house, see that if there were a basement. So she drives there, tries to find the doors to the basement, accidentally hits her foot on it, convenient, and finds out that, oh, there is a prison here. A basement here, who somebody was kept in it, goes in it. There are claw marks on the wall, and there's a bucket next to one of them. She's like, oh, he was telling the truth. And she throws up. Again, I don't believe this. She's a criminal psychologist. This is the worst thing she's ever seen. A basement with claw marks. And then she's like, oh my god, he was telling the truth. Now what? Now can I send him to prison? Yes, you can. Not because he hurt you. Again, the only thing that Sarah cares about is Sarah. So now that Sarah knows that he didn't lie to her, then that's fine. He can be free. You should think about the people in the society. This is not about you. So yes, he told you the truth about his past. That doesn't have to do anything with the fact that he's a stalking, abusive, obsessive criminal that should be in jail. And the fact that you're thinking, oh no, but I love him, is the problem with you. Chapter 30, Maxim. Maxim goes to the grave of his brother and decides that now that he doesn't have Sarah, he should just kill himself. But before doing that, he wants to see her one more time. Chapter 31, Sarah. She is in home, being so sad about the fact that he's not there. She takes off her bra in a very performative way, but no Maxime is there. Suddenly she sees a shadow. Could it be him? Or is it her mind playing tricks on her? She goes to the shower, tries to find a towel to get out, and she feels like somebody handed it to her. Is this a cartoon? So you're like, oh, my towel, my towel. Suddenly somebody's like, here, without saying, and you're like, yeah, maybe it wasn't somebody giving it to me. Can you not say if it's hung or somebody's? Whatever. It puts on the towel, comes out. Maxime is there. It's like, were you putting on a show for me? Hate both of you. Go to hell, both of you, together. He says, aren't you sending me back to jail? Isn't that what that little manila folder was? That means he'd watched me. Yes, of course he was. He's a stalker. Welcome to the chat, baby. Whatever. He said, he asked, oh no, I don't give a fuck. He says, Maxime, listen. And he's like, no, you don't have to give me excuses. I don't deserve them. I just want the truth. Just tell me the truth. And she says, I'm trying to. Will you just shut up for a damn minute? Will both of you shut up forever? Just shut up. Shut up. Okay. And she's like, yeah, I went to your old home. I know that you were telling the truth. I'm so sorry for not believing you. It's like, yeah, I get it. I'm not really a believable person. They start doing things with each other. And before the moment of yes, she says, I want to tell you something before you fuck me. And what do you think it is that you want to tell her? I love you, Maxime. No, you do not. You do not love him. You don't even know him. He has assaulted you. He's a liar. He's a villain. Please don't say that word. Do whatever it is that you want to, just don't say that word.
He wants to say it back, but he can't because, I don't know, he just can't. So he decides that he wants to show it with his actions. And what are those actions? The hardness of the... Continue! Thank God we were blessed by this book. My cat is trying to comfort me, I guess. Epilogue. This stupid ass book has an epilogue. Of course it does. So epilogue. Sarah gives Maxime an envelope, which is the recommendation to the court, and in it she has written, a model patient made great strides in therapy isn't the same person that walked into her office. You need to go to prison because you're willing to put other people's safety in risk because of a good boink. So you need to go to prison too. Or at least you need a lot of help. Whatever, even he is so surprised that she did this. He's like, oh, you lied for me. Yes, of course I did. You're mine. I'm not going to let you go to the prison. Shut up. And she ends this perfect, beautiful, poetic book with this lovely saying of Sarah. Sarah tells us, though I may be a bad doctor, I'm his good girl. And it's all I want to be. I'm unethical, but I am his. Worst book that was ever written. 0 stars. Well, I have to give it 1 because Goodreads, but 0 stars. Hated it, hated it, hated it. But I love you. Thank you for watching my video. Like it, comment down below. See you in the next one. Bye bye, have a good day. Don't be as mad as I am. I'm taking things too seriously. Bye.